Think becoming a remarkable music artist is all about grinding tutorials, learning more skills, and having fancy gear? It's not. Most artists fail to surpass mediocre because they miss one deceptively simple practice that unlocks rapid growth and something that the pros secretly rely on. So in this video, I'm going to show you the proven method that I use with my clients to identify your current skill level, reveal your breakthrough areas, and how you can instantly apply it in your studio, all in one easy step-by-step plan. Hey, I'm Alex, a musician, producer, and certified audio engineer, and I'm all about helping you discover your full creative potential using music as a path to self-transformation. Ever since I started making music, all I wanted was one thing: to make something meaningful that sounded amazing, something that stood alongside the artist that I admired. But no matter how hard I tried, even after going to audio school, my music still fell short of my artistic vision. As heartbreaking as it was, my music was cool, sure, but not remarkable, not unforgettable. Would I ever reach the creative potential I saw in myself? That question haunted me. And I tried everything, watching endless tutorials, learning more music theory, buying better tools, plugins, and gear, online courses, mentorships. Did it help? Sure, I got better at the craft, the technical skill of making music. But the sad truth remained. Most of what I was doing wasn't making me a better artist. Art and craft are connected, but they are not the same thing. Craft is your toolkit: theory, synthesizer controls, technical details like peak versus RMS metering, playing an instrument, etc. Art is your soul, expression, meaning, vision. You need both because craft alone won't make your music unforgettable. It wasn't until I deliberately focused on developing the artistic side, the deeper creative and philosophical aspects, that my music truly began to level up. The real breakthrough came from within: my intuition, taste, and unique creative insight. And the key is that you always want to capture that insight because it's the gold and it's uniquely yours, but it's easy to overlook. If you want an entire workflow system and template that I use to help you discover and remember those breakthroughs, you can grab it in the link below. It's a great place to do the exercises that we'll be covering in this video. Now that you understand the difference between craft and art, you've probably realized that you've been prioritizing craft. Now let's fix that. Here's how you can start developing your artistic side right now. Number one is inspiration. Make a quick list of things that inspire you. It can be anything: music, nature, art, movies, stories, etc. Two, influences. You want to build a playlist of 10 tracks that blow your mind and represent your artistic ideal. And three is intention. You want to clearly define your creative vision. How do you want your music to feel, to sound? What experience do you want the listeners to have? What ideas do you have floating around in your head? Then stop, pause, and reflect on your answers and ask yourself, why? Digging one layer deeper will help you uncover what truly moves you as an artist. There will be a unifying essence that connects everything you've identified, and that's you. Once you've done this, you'll have a clear baseline of what great art means to you and where you stand now in relation to it. If you want a place to actually capture these insights and put them into action, I built a free Notion template that maps out my entire creative workflow. It's designed not just to help you organize your process, but to help you notice the breakthroughs that make you a better artist. You can grab it in the link below and even use it alongside the exercises we'll be doing in this video. Most music creators struggle to bring the music they hear in their head to life. I call this the artist gap. It's the frustrating difference between what you want to create, what you aspire to create, and what you're currently capable of. Why do most artists stay stuck here? Simple. They're practicing the wrong things, sometimes for years. This gap is unique to you, your experience, musical background, and even the type of music you want to make. It might be technical, creative, or something deeper in your awareness. So generic advice just won't cut it. So how do we pinpoint exactly what's missing for you? Most music is made up of 4 foundational elements, and yes, they just might be connected to the 4 ancient elements because you're a wizard: rhythm, bass, melody, and harmony. This is exactly what I teach my students in the first stage of my system called Calibrate. Why these four elements? Because 99% of music contains one, if not all, of those elements. It's simple, effective, and endlessly versatile. Your unique expression through these elements is exactly where you'll shine as an artist. Just look at legendary artists who have built entire careers around mastering these simple four elements. Green Day, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Nirvana, same four elements, but very different music. All right, so here's our goal. Learn to express yourself confidently through all four elements, and you'll steadily move forward towards mastery. But here's the best part. This framework isn't just theory. It's also the most effective way that I found to quickly measure where my students are at musically, creatively, and technically. So let me show you exactly how you can do it for yourself. The fastest way to leverage the four elements and get honest insight into your current level is by recreating music you love. Imagine building a house around a scaffold. You use the original track as a reference to build around, but once you've got the basic shape, you remove the scaffold and can make it uniquely yours. Why is this powerful? Because it helps you evaluate your current skills, playing, listening, recreating, identify your weaknesses quickly, and clarify your strengths accurately. Notice I said recreating music, not remixing, not remaking, not copying note for note. We want to use this as both a technical and creative exercise. So here's how to do it practically. Choose a track and section. Grab a song from your playlist from the previous section and pick a section that's challenging but doable, something exciting but within reach. Set a timer and walk through the four elements. Rhythm. Can you clearly hear all the rhythmic elements? Can you recreate the groove? Bass. Can you match the bass line's rhythm, tones, and feel? Melody. Can you hum it? Can you find the notes on your instrument or in the piano roll? Harmony. Can you break down the chord progression, identify specific chords, any subtle harmonies or other elements that are contributing to the harmonic landscape? Recreate and reflect. Don't skip reflection. This is where the magic truly happens. Ask yourself, what went well? Where did I struggle? What specifically needs improvement? And write it down. This gives you a repeatable method to track your progress. Was it easy? Great. Next time, pick something more challenging. Too hard? Fantastic. Now you know exactly what to focus on. This is your biggest growth area. And most importantly, how can you creatively make this your own? Why this works. It's the single most condensed way to train your ear, intuition, and technical skill simultaneously. You're learning hard skills along with sound design, composition, and arrangement all at once through action. And it gives you deep, intimate insight into your taste, style, and creativity, something theory alone can't do. Now let's put theory into action step by step in Ableton. You can follow along with me or watch it first and do it yourself. And no matter what tools you're using, you can figure it out and you can follow along. And remember, the goal here isn't just technical practice. It's also creative expression. We're trying to bridge this artistic gap by absorbing the DNA of music we love and using it as a tool to evaluate where our current skill sets are. And for this demo, I'll use a stock track because, well, YouTube copyright. Know what I'm saying? We want to save the live set with save as to stay organized. I'm just going to go to File, Save Live Set As right away, and we're going to name it Recreate. Because why not? You could save it wherever you would like. And from there, you're going to drag your reference file into Ableton. I have the track that we're going to recreate here into an audio track. And now we want to make sure that the start time of this track aligns with the start time of our grid. So I'm just going to select this area and hit Z to zoom in. Good hack to know. I'm going to lower the volume of this track because it's probably super loud. We're just going to try and find the downbeat. So we can see this kind of big transient here, this guy. This is where I'm thinking the downbeat is. And we want to make sure to align this with some point of our grid. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this track and I'm going to fold it inwards so we can just focus on the downbeat and then I'll expand it later. And my goal is to make this downbeat, this transient, line up with 9. So I'm just going to move it over. And if you need to, you can right click and turn off snap to grid so you can actually move it off the grid. And we can see that right here looks like where the waveform starts changing. And you don't have to be super exact because we're going to test. But right here, this dip below is somewhere where I think the waveform is starting to change. I'm just listening for if this feels when I hit play that it starts on the downbeat. Like that sounds pretty good to me. The next thing that we want to do is line up the BPM, which is over here in Ableton, so that the transients line up with our grid. We are way too slow. So what I'm going to do is adjust this BPM and look at the waveform peaks to try and line up the next downbeat with where we want it in the grid, right? So if we listen, this is our first downbeat. So I think that this is our next downbeat over here. One thing I forgot is we want to make sure to have warp off. I have this automatically turned off, but we want to make sure that we're not stretching the audio. So just by double clicking here, opening up the clip view, checking over here, make sure this is off, okay? So I'm going to close this for now, and we're going to look at how close we are from tapping in the tempo here. So it's very close, right? I want this one to line up right on 13. I'm going to start inching this up until we get close. So right here, 170 looks pretty bang on bar 13. So if I zoom out and let's test this, right? Listening for this to land on the downbeat. Let's listen how this lines up with our metronome. And quick tip, older songs or more progressive songs that might have different time signatures or tempo changes might be a little bit more tricky. So you can use Google or ChatGPT if you're stuck, or just use your ear and try your best. For now, I'm just going to turn this reference track off so that we're not hearing it as we're recreating elements, but I can simply press solo whenever I want to reference it. And then when I unclick solo, then it's quiet again. Now we have this all set up, I'm just going to focus on finding a section that I'm going to recreate. I really like this section. It's a little bit more busy, more going on, but that's more fun. So we're going to probably aim for 53 to 69. So let's dive into recreating each element. And again, don't stress out about finding perfect sounds or samples just yet. Choose fast and keep moving. You can always refine later. So we're going to start with rhythm. And again, we're starting at the song's peak moment, I would say. And this is usually the drop of the chorus. It's a good thing to aim for. Typically, the peak of the song will usually have the most elements and set you up to build the rest very quickly. So I'm going to quickly find and pick samples, plugins, whatever I need. And if you can, play rhythms live. It builds your musicianship and it's faster than just programming notes. I use my own curated sample library, which I call my sacred sound sanctuary, because why not? Let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see a video on how to make your own. All right, so I've gone through and populated a drum rack full of samples that I found from my sample library. And if I go to my hands, they're playable for me instantly here. So I like these sounds. I feel like they fit the vibe. And I'm going to try to find the patterns by playing along with what's going on inside Ableton, right? So for example, if I listen to this track, let's play it. Okay, so there's a very specific kick drum pattern going here. So after listening to it a few times, I might try my hand to record in the kick drum. So I didn't get it perfect, but I got the beginning. Pretty close. You can go in here and edit the stuff and use your ear to try and pinpoint what's happening. All right, so I listened through this a few times and I did a mix of playing in parts with these samples, as well as going in Ableton and programming things, a little bit of trial and error. And this is what I came up with to match what the original. So this is what it sounds like. If you look at my MIDI while it's playing back, you can see that it's pretty accurately representing what's happening. And now I'm going to go ahead and move over to bass, and real bass is objectively cooler than MIDI bass, okay? But MIDI bass can also work too. So feel free to look up the chords, or even better, learn them by ear. So what I'm going to do is grab my bass. We're going to find a tone that I like and that fits with the track, and make sure we're in tune, and then listen closely and see if we can recreate something like this song. So in here, we're going to create a new audio track. We're going to go external in 1, which is where my bass is plugged in. We're going to make the monitoring off because I'm direct monitoring through my interface so that there's 0 latency between what I play and what I hear. And for the bass tone that I'm just using something that I have set up already in my Line 6 Helix, right? It sounds great. So now I'm just going to listen and play along until I can find something that sounds like I'm recreating what's happening in the track. This last take is sounding good. This is what it sounds like solo. Right, and together with the drums. Right, and then with the reference. All right, next let's move on to melody, which will often be the vocals, but don't worry if you're not a singer. If you do sing or rap, it's great practice for recording and comping, tuning, processing, etc. You could even reinterpret the part of an instrumental track like I have here with your vocals or just sing on top of it. Get creative. Don't worry about perfect accuracy. Creating something different might even sound cooler. So for this case, I'm going to listen into what's going on with the melody, find the instrument, get it in. All right, so I found a pretty trippy sound that I like. Sounds like this. And I'm listening closely to the track, and I'm just finding the notes that I hear for the melody. So let's give it a play. So the first thing I'm hearing is, right, if we listen closely, right, hear that in the melody. And then, right, pentatonic run. Then I hear, right, so it's like, so that's the melody. So let's see if we can play it in. So I think I got it in. If we go to Ableton, let's listen to what we got. Right? So to me, that sounds pretty bang on. And one thing to notice is that the melody is pretty simple because this song is so rhythmically complex, right? So if we listen to everything we've got so far. So now we can move on to the harmony. Now I've seen a lot of producers spend a lot of time trying to program chords note by note in the piano roll, but it is way faster and has way more feel if you can play them in live. Now, if you don't play keys, guitar, or something like push, I'd strongly consider learning to play something. It's way more fun and intuitive, and it'll put more you in the music. Okay, so let's go ahead and listen for the harmony. I found another couple sounds that I think are close. All right, so in listening to this harmony, the note that sticks out to me is la, la. Sounds like this, right? So that's the top of the note. And to me, this has a minor quality, right? So I'm thinking that feels like the top note, and I already know what that kind of sound is. It sounds like a 9, right? Relative to a root. So I think that this is our root note, right? That's home bass. So if I go back to my hands, right? This E note is our root note, right? And that tone sounds like a 9 compared to this root note, right? So if we play the root note up here, we have the 9, right? And I'm hearing like a minor chord. So with the 9 on top, that's the kind of vibe I'm hearing. So there's our minor 3 with our 5 and the 9 on top. That's getting pretty close. And there might even be a 7 in there. So a jazzy chord. That's what I'm hearing. So let's play along, see if we can play it. And at the end of the phrase, I'm hearing 2 different chords. So I played that in, right? So let's hear it with our other elements. So I'm listening for the chords here at the end phrase. There's another 2 chords. Matching those punches. I'm hearing the top note of those chords first. I'm hearing these notes. Can you hear that? No. So I'm thinking those are the tops of the chords, and I'm just going to guess as to what chord it might be. So let's listen to the first one. Like, to me, I'm hearing a major chord, right? Like a major 7 with that 7 being on top. Right? So let's play that in, see how it sounds. Sounds exactly like it, right? Major 7. And then the second chord, that's the high note. Sounds like a minor 7 chord, right? Let's try that in. So now if I go back to Ableton, right? Let's listen to what we got without the reference. Right? Back to the reference. I'll pause here, but I encourage you to recreate the entire track. Recreate and reflect. Don't skip this, okay? Reflection is essential. This is where real growth happens. So you want to ask yourself, what went well? Celebrate your wins. Then pick something more challenging in that area next time. What was challenging? Great. Now you know exactly where that gap is and where to focus your practice next. What could improve? Identify a specific skill like DAW fluency, chord recognition, rhythm programming, etc. to deliberately focus on next. So there's actually a hidden 5th element, inspiration. In other words, the in spirit, what brings the spirit within you. You know what I'm saying? Mind grown. This is the emotional magic, the soul behind the music. So take a sec to listen carefully to what gives the track its emotional power. And most importantly, ask yourself, how can you express your unique artistic voice through something you learned in the process? And I can't emphasize why this matters so much enough. This isn't just technical practice. It's a creative, semi-spiritual exercise. So when you recreate another artist's music, you step into their creative world. And from there, your own unique voice can emerge naturally. So here's a simple process to help you internalize how to make this your own. Number 1 is to imitate. What speaks out to you artistically from what you recreated? How can you borrow or steal ideas that you love and put it in your own music? Number 2 is to iterate. How can you experiment and develop these ideas further? What would you like to hear more of in these ideas? And then third is to innovate. How can you combine these new ideas with your existing style that you already like to do and that you already are familiar with and create something uniquely you? Once you've done this exercise, you'll have powerful new tools to use and reinvent in your own music. But recreating elements alone isn't enough. You need to know how to thread them all together into a cohesive, expressive, and polished piece of music that truly tells a meaningful story. So if you want to learn exactly how to do that next, then watch this video right here where we go through an entire system that's going to walk you through your first ideas, capturing all these insights, all the way to a finished, release-ready project that you can share with the world. So I'll see you in that video.